Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to another episode of Billy's Game Garage. Now for today's episode, I'm going to be doing another recent pickups. I know I haven't done a video in a while and I've been buying the mess out of games, so I've got quite a backlog of games here to talk about today. So without further ado, I'm just going to burn right through them. So it might be a little quicker than normal, but just trying to show you all these games. Alright, first up, I want to show you a console that's new to my collection, actually a huge addition to my collection. I've been looking for one of these for a long time. I know that you can find them, but just finding one for the right price and at the right time. And that is a PlayStation Vita. And I know it has its ups and downs. A lot of people make a joke of it, but this is I've got this custom case here for it that makes it really comfortable and really well fit in your hand. And holds on to it really well. So that's it right there. So really nice handheld. It can do the remote play. Just make sure you have really good internet to do that. And it has a ton of good games for it that I've been tracking on my PlayStation Plus account for the last couple of years. So I have a ton of games for it. I did pick up a few physical games with it, not in their original cases, just some reproduction cases. And that's Killzone Mercenary. Really good shooter. Really good. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, which I have the Sonic All-Stars Racing on Xbox 360. Really fun game. Really like it. Whole lot of fun to it. Good drifting physics and everything. Little kart racer. Next up is a game I also have on console, and that is Borderlands 2. Really surprised to see these full-blown first-person shooters in my hands on the go. Really excited about it. Alright, so there's that. Then we'll just jump into some PlayStation 1 games that I picked up. I don't buy a whole lot of them, but I did find quite a few disc-only games that were just interesting to me. And some of them had the manuals with them as well. First up is a game called Rage Ball. And sorry about the glare. Is a game called Rage Ball. Now this is a lot like if you've ever played Dead Ball Zone or Speedball. It's just like a combative sports game. So next up is a game I actually picked up for our son for Christmas. I know you're not going to be able to see the label or anything. It was a disc only game, and that is Zaboomafoo. I know you can't read that, but it's Zaboomafoo Leapin' Lemurs. It's just a kind of strange 3D platforming game basically, but it's cool for him because he gets to learn about a lot of different animals. Next up, we actually got a couple fishing games. I know our son's been really getting into fishing games recently. First up is Bass Rise on PlayStation 1. Not really good, honestly. It's really dated graphics, but still playable. Next up is Big Bass Fishing. Right there. Big Bass Fishing. It's an okay game. A little strange, but it's not a bad fishing game. Next up is some games that I bought because me and my wife have been playing quite a few games recently, and we just picked up some games to play. And that is, first up is Jeopardy on PlayStation 1. Really difficult. Just saying. Jeopardy is a hard game by its nature, but it is a difficult game, but it's still a lot of fun to play with 2 or 3 people. I would prefer 3 people because if you play against a computer, it's pretty tough. Next up is one we just found at the thrift store, and it's actually complete, and that is Scrabble, which me and my wife play the PS4 version that we have on our digital download, and it's awesome. We have a really fun time playing Scrabble. And then next up we have Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Another tough game, but still a lot of fun. Alright, next up I have a PS4 game that I picked up for cheap at a thrift store, and that's Madden 16. I'm a huge Madden fan. I love Madden, so I picked this up about a couple weeks ago, and then a couple months ago I picked up Madden 18 on sale on the PlayStation Store, and I've been playing through that. And I gotta tell you, man, these sports games have come a long way. I know Madden 18 has the story mode and everything now. They have Ultimate Team, and there's just so much content on those games now. Then we go to a couple Xbox 360 games that I picked up, and I have the second one of this, but this is the third one. This is Dead Space 3, the limited edition, and Dead Space 3, I know it didn't get great reviews with the people in that community. I know a lot of people said that it was a lot different than the first two games, but I'm not too worried about that. I know the complaints that they had was that it wasn't really in the same genre anymore. It was more just an action game, which I'm fine with because I don't really like the survival horror aspect. I'm not a huge survival horror fan. I do respect those games, I just don't like playing them. Then we have a Lego game, Lego Indiana Jones. Haven't played this yet, but I kind of know what to expect because I have tons of other Lego games. Always a lot of fun. Alright, then we can get into our PS3. I actually have quite a few PS3 games that I've picked up recently. First up's a couple of good action games. I haven't played this one much, but that's Stranglehold. It's actually John Woo presents Stranglehold. I guess he's a movie director for a lot of action movies and things, and this is a game, you know, kind of designed by him, so really good. I haven't played too much of it yet, but definitely excited to get into it. Next up we have 007 Quantum Solace. I've really been getting into these games a lot recently. I have quite a few of them on PlayStation 2, and this one kind of holds true to those as well. It's a solid action game, and they're actually really good physics in it and a whole lot of fun. Next up, I completed my almost completed my Uncharted collection by picking up Uncharted Drake's Fortune. This is the first game. I actually found it at a thrift store for like $2, so I really couldn't pass it up. I had this game before on my first PS3, and then it crashed, and I traded it. But definitely excited to get this back in my collection. I actually been playing through it quite a bit, so now the only one I'm missing is that newer one they came out with, and the Vita. So once I get the Vita, I have Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just going to be looking at picking up the Vita version. Next up we have is Mercenaries 2, World in Flames. I played the first Mercenaries game a lot on PlayStation 2, so I haven't jumped into this one yet, but they're always fun. I know I like the first one, so it'll be interesting to see what I think of that one. Next up we have another game that's a sports game, and me and my wife actually been getting into watching this sport a lot recently. We actually really enjoy watching that, and that's Rugby 15 on the PlayStation 3, and I played a little bit of it. I do have Rugby 2005 on PlayStation 2. I do like these games, and I do like it. It plays, if you've played FIFA, it kind of plays and looks a lot like FIFA. Of course, it's not soccer, it's rugby, so it's a rugby game, but the look and feel is reminded me a lot of FIFA. Next up we have another action game on PlayStation 3, and this one I've actually heard a lot about, and a lot of people have said it's a hidden gem, so I picked that up, and that's Time Shift on PlayStation 3. It's really a budget game now. I haven't played too much into it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about this game. Next up's another thrift store game. That was a disc only. It doesn't have the original case, but that is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I don't know if you can read it there, but Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I really like the first one. I have the first one on PlayStation 2, so that's another one I haven't jumped into yet, but I definitely will. Picked up another Harry Potter game, and that's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Like I've said before, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I like the books, I like the movies, and the games are okay. I know they're not great by any standard, so but I do like playing through the story, so I'll be excited once I start playing that one. Next up, we have another repro case game for PS3, and that's a racing game called Nailed. I don't know if anybody's heard of this game. It's like it's ATVs and motocross, but it's got this really weird physics where you have to steer while you're flying through the air. It's really fun, and it's at a budget price right now, so I actually really enjoyed that one. All right, another game that I picked up for me and the family to play that me and my wife really enjoy playing, and that's Wheel of Fortune on the PS3. A lot of fun. It was actually quite a bit more expensive than I thought it would be, but still not bad. I mean, you can get it for $20, so not a bad deal there. And it's a lot of fun to play with people. So next up, I have another sports game I picked up, and that is Tiger Woods PGA Tour 13, and this is the version that includes the Masters. I've tried before to get into, like I said, I love sports games. I really do. That's really what got me into playing video games. But I've been trying to get into golf, and it's just hard to get into. You have to know what you're really watching. So I don't know. It's kind of, I come and go with it. I have to be in the right mood, but definitely going to get into this one. I know I have an earlier version on the PS3 that I played actually quite a bit, so I'll be excited to play that. Alright, along with PS3, I picked up another game for the family to play, and it's actually complete in the box. And I've played this quite a bit with my sister and brother-in-law before, years ago, and that is Buzz Quiz TV. I know a lot of people have played this. A lot of people don't like these style of games, but for a Friday night playing with your family and playing with friends, it's a lot of fun. It really is. And it's just like a game show. You have little buzzers that come with it, so it's pretty neat. Alright, then we have PlayStation 2 games, which, as you guys have probably heard before, the PlayStation 2 is one of my favorite consoles of all time, if not the favorite of all time. So I've been picking up quite a bit PlayStation 2 games recently. I had kind of a dry spell there, but now I'm getting back into it. Well, first up, we have another licensed movie game. So I think I've played this with my sister as a kid, and it was okay. I don't remember it too much, but that is Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I do really like the movie on this. I know my wife really likes the movie too, so maybe one day on another Saturday or something, me and wife will sit down and play this for a little while and see how it is. Next up, have a game that's kind of nostalgic for me, because I remember growing up and playing the PlayStation 1 version of this and putting just hours and hours and hours into it as a kid. But this is the PS2 version. I know I've seen it out there, and I don't know why I've never gotten it before. But that's Sledstorm on the PlayStation 2. If you guys have not played this game, you need to. Sledstorm is so much fun. If you like SSX or any of the action games like that, it's an EA big title. This one is. The first one wasn't, but this one is. It's just fun. If you like Splashdown, Rides Gone Wild, another one that's very similar to this. So if you like either of those games, definitely check this one out. Next up is a disc-only game that I got, and I have a case for it, but I haven't made a cover for it yet, so I'll just show you this disc. But that's Wakeboarding Unleashed featuring Sean Murray, and I can't see. Alright, so that's Wakeboarding Unleashed featuring Sean Murray. It's actually a really fun wakeboarding game. I know I was looking at it, and I know how a lot of the sports games from that genre are, and I know they're not very good. So I was a little skeptical to pick this one up, but man, I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun just to go and hit the waves. And even my 4-year-old son was really having a lot of fun with it as well. It wasn't too difficult for him. He was going through the jumps and doing tricks and stuff. So definitely a good one to pick up if you have kids, or if you just sit down and play games. Next up is a game that I have quite a few games in the series, another sports game, but I also found at a thrift store, but I don't have this one, and that is Fight Night Round 3. Fight Night, I'm a huge fan of. I love Fight Night 2. I have Fight Night on the PSP, Fight Night 4, Champion. I've got a bunch of them, and I really enjoy these games. I like the way they did the controls on them. It's not too hard to understand. It almost feels pretty natural, but a lot of fun on these. A lot of good boxers on it, so definitely check it out. Next up, another fishing game that our son has, our son's been getting into fishing games, so I've been buying a whole bunch of them. I have quite a few of these in this series, and that is Reel Fishing 3. Reel Fishing is much more calmer than all the other fishing games. It's not real arcadey. They try to be a little more realistic, a little more relaxed and laid back, so, but definitely a good series. Next up's an RPG that I picked up that I've heard a lot of people talk about. I haven't gotten too far into it yet. I know whenever I get the time to, I know I'll get into it. And that is Dark Cloud on the PS2. I know I've seen it quite a bit on the store on PS3 and on PS4, so I saw it locally for pretty cheap, so I went ahead and picked it up. I know a lot of people talk about it. And hopefully, maybe I'll get into this one, play through it, and then jump on to the second one. So we'll see. All right, next up, we have a game picked up off of Amazon for really cheap, and it was actually brand new. And a really good game. Got a whole bunch of games on here. And that is the Capcom Classics Collection on PlayStation 2. Super fun. There's so many games on here. I mean, it's got Street Fighter 2, 1942, Ghosts and Goblins, Bionic Commando, Ghouls and Ghosts, and just a ton more. So definitely check if you like those old arcade games or you like old Capcom games. Definitely check this one out. And it's really not for too bad of a price too. It's got 22 games on it, so just a little hint there. Next up, another thrift store game that I picked up. It was a racing game that looked pretty interesting to me. I don't think I'd ever heard of it. It's not a great game, and the menu is really, I don't know, it's just really clunky. It was really hard for me to navigate through just to find a race. But that is Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift. It's definitely a budget title, but still, I did enjoy the racing that I did on it. It's just the menu system was really weird. So, next up, another thrift store. Got another action game. I haven't started this one yet, but that's the History Channel Battle for the Pacific. I like these old war games and these old action games, so I'll definitely get into it more and play through it and see what it's like and let you guys know. Soldier of Fortune Gold Edition. You guys have probably played Soldier of Fortune, just another good action game, first-person shooter. Next up, we have a flight combat game that I've seen a lot, and that's Rebel Raiders Operation Nighthawk. I've seen this for real cheap a whole lot before, and I just never jumped on it because there were so many of these back then, that I was very skeptical. But hey, I'm telling you, I jumped into this and right away, man, I sunk a couple hours into it just right off the bat. It was so much fun. And the controls on it are solid, really good. It's just a good game if you like games like Ace Combat, something along those lines. So definitely check that out, Rebel Raiders. And you can get it super cheap, like I said, and it's definitely still playable. Right, next up, alright, my last video, I showed you I picked up my first console Midnight Club game, and I did really enjoy it, so then I went ahead and picked up Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Just a really, really good arcade racing game. Really fast, really solid frame rate, just a lot of fun. Alright, next up we have kind of an interesting story here. I found the walkthrough strategy guide at a thrift store for I want to say I paid $1 for it, which I couldn't pass up. And that is Final Fantasy 12, the paperback strategy guide. I found this and I thought I might have the game, but it turns out I didn't. Well, luckily I found the game also pretty cheap, so that's Final Fantasy 12. I've seen it come back recently on PS4, but I don't know, I like a lot of the Final Fantasy games, and now that I have it with the manual and the game, I've been playing quite a bit of it actually and been going through it, and I really enjoy this one. Alright, next up, I picked up one Wii game. I don't buy a whole lot of Wii games usually, but I've picked up a few in the last couple episodes that I did, and I picked up one here at a thrift store. And this one is Wild Earth African Safari. It's definitely a budget title, but still a lot of fun, especially if you have kids. I know my son, he loves animals, so he loved playing this with me. Alright, next up we have a few Xbox games, original Xbox. This one's got a reprinted cover on it, but this is one of those games that was a lot of people talk about. A lot of people say it's a hidden gem, a budget title, so I saw it for a good price, actually really cheap, I think like $3-4, and that's Jaeger on the original Xbox. I haven't played it yet, but I know a lot of people that talk about it and say that it's just a really solid game with, you know, the cheesy dialogue and everything, so I'll definitely be getting into this one. Alright, next up is a game that I actually have on PC, but I was excited to see it on console because I would like to experience on console as well, and that is Half-Life 2 on original Xbox. Really good game. I know it set the standard for a lot of games in this genre and really paved the way for a lot of them, so really excited to have this on console. Alright, next up's another sports game I got thrift store for I think like $2, but that's FIFA Street 2 on the original Xbox, and this one actually is an EA big title. I know I talked a couple episodes about one that I had purchased that was on I think PS3, but it wasn't EA big, so it was like really more realistic. This one's a good balance, I think, and it was still a lot of fun, so definitely a good game there. And then lastly, I have a game that I have been looking for a while. That's actually, for whatever reason, it's just hard to find, or at least I find that it is for me. It's not an expensive game at all by any means. I mean, it's less than $10, but it's just hard to find out in the wild for whatever reason. And that game is Death Row on the original Xbox. Now, judging by the cover and the name of it, it doesn't do a good representation of what the game is. You think it's some kind of, you know, brawler maybe, or an action game like The Suffering, you know, survival or something, or it's, you know, something maybe along the lines of Grand Theft Auto, but it's not. It's a game where you're in, I believe it's teams of 3, and it's kind of like, you know, Rage Ball or Speedball 2100 or Speedball 2. It's along those lines where you just are playing a game where it's kind of plays like handball, and you just get to beat the crap out of your opponent. I mean, just utterly destroy them. You just get to destroy your opponent, basically. You just absolutely just terrorize them. But it's a lot of fun. I know it's a little bit dated now, but it's still very playable and still a lot of fun. So, alright guys, that's it from the video today. I know it's going to try and make it a little quicker than normal. I didn't go into as much explanation about them that I normally do, but just thank you guys for watching. Just make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I know I haven't done very many videos lately, been pretty busy, so hopefully we'll pick it up here coming up shortly. So, thank you for watching.